Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. What started out as a solid control morning for the bulls quickly shifted into bears having complete control on the day. So what does that mean I do with my bull bias of late? I'll tell you. All right, so I just recorded a whole video with the wrong screen up. I've probably done that 5,800 times over the last 7 years, but rather than recording it again, I liked what I said, so I just played the video, went over the screen, mashed it together, poor production quality. It's what you got. Thanks for tuning in. So 12-hour lower highs set on our futures charts and a pretty important overnight session tonight because we have two very different scenarios as to what's going to happen. We're either going to confirm the daily downtrends by breaking the lows of Friday, the key levels that I highlighted in the videos yesterday as must holds for the bulls to keep full short-term control, or we hold the Friday lows, bounce overnight, and then we'll look for a break either on the Fed minutes reactions tomorrow or probably Thursday if we don't break tomorrow. So very important overnight session for the bulls to hold support. So I have had a clear bull lean over the last 3.5 weeks. What do we do when we get new information that is against our bias? We dig in, we double down, we refuse to admit defeat, and we preserve our egos. Just kidding, we change teams. I'm not on Team Bull. I've been on Team Bull, but right now Team Bear is coming to me and they're presenting me with some information and saying, hey, do you want to join Team Bear? And I'm saying, okay, that looks pretty good. Give me some follow through. Give me some bear correlations. Give me all sectors weak at the same time. Sure, I'll jump in. So I am looking to decrease my bull exposure. If these lows break, I will exit my Facebook swing. My Facebook swing trade was a target of weekly EMA 12 when I entered long ago under 200. I think I entered 199s. So my rough target was looking at 240 and looking at weekly EMA 12. Okay, we're testing weekly EMA 12. That's close enough for me. And I will exit this remaining position because I did scale out some on the way. I will exit that remaining position if the NASDAQ breaks the Friday low and confirms the daily downtrend. Tesla, I will look to trim some position as well. And I will look to be left with a quarter of my initial position, but taking a lot of profit off the table. What that will do is significantly decrease my bull exposure. And then from there, I'll have a bear bias in how I'm trading on a daily basis. For example, what does that mean? That means I don't even necessarily have to swing with bearish positions. I might swing trade with bear positions more, but just as an example, XBI tomorrow, I know I'm scouting an hourly lower high. Next time we bounce, I'm scouting that hourly lower high. There's tons of space for it. And I'll talk about that more and why with relation to IWM, but that's a day trade that could turn into a swing trade. I have no idea how tomorrow is going to shape up, but it's the kind of scenario where, let's say I enter a short on the hourly lower high, I sell partial, I put my break-even stop above it, and if we close weak and bears confirm it to me, then I swing the position. So that's how I'm going to be looking to shift things. But again, if these Friday lows break, I will have less bull exposure than I've had at any point in the last 3 weeks. And that is me shifting with new information in the changing market environment. So if we confirm the daily downtrend, we zoom out and we scout a weekly higher low because we have tons of space for a weekly higher low to form. And technically speaking, this is an inverse head and shoulders. I personally prefer when my right neckline is lower than my left neckline, but I will be watching retracement size because the retracement size is going to be very key for me to determine, is this healthy weekly consolidation and a potential bull flag, or do we pull back 50% retracement plus and then create an equilibrium? So that's what I'm watching. Low of Friday, if it breaks, weekly consolidation underway. If weekly consolidation is underway, how much retracement size do we see? I will be playing bearish with the bear lean during weekly consolidation, but I'm not going to lose sight that for me, the most likely scenario will be weekly higher lows in a ton of individual ETFs and individual stocks. So the NASDAQ, today was, the middle of the day today was completely inverse to what we had yesterday. Yesterday was QQQ and IWM green, and we had XLF and XLV red. And today was exactly opposite. At one point today, XLV was green the amount it was red yesterday, while QQQ was red the amount it was green yesterday in terms of percentages. So very notable in terms of the complete turnaround shift. And I made a tweet about that where Lori posted the heat maps and how they look like mirror images. So same thing for the NASDAQ. If the 12-hour support level breaks, then daily downtrend confirmed, weekly consolidation underway. And again, we would need some kind of news event to drop straight to a lower low, in my opinion. So I would be anticipating a weekly higher low. And I would also be anticipating, again, depending on the retracement size, it's possible we see volatility drop off mid-year. We know we've had a ton of volatility to start the year. And so we know after significant volatility in both directions, we scout equilibriums. So all depends on what weekly retracement size looks like, if indeed weekly consolidation is underway. Weekly consolidation is already underway on our weaker sectors. We've been highlighting how the semiconductors have had a bearish correlation. And this is the kind of thing where I would have hoped for a bounce to a daily lower high entry. We never got that daily bounce. It was just a bounce yesterday. IWM gave that daily lower high entry for bears to top fish the recent highs. But SMH did not. It's just been a straight drop from that high. But weekly consolidation is underway here. And again, it's a potential inverse head and shoulders, but retracement size is already pretty significant here. So this is a lead bear sector as long as this bear correlation continues. And as far as retracement size, we are already over a 50% retracement, while QQQ has not even started weekly consolidation. So we can say semiconductors are not positioned well for bulls if QQQ starts weekly consolidation. And we can say it's positioned really well for bears. If I'm a bear, I want to be playing the names that have bearish correlation. And the semiconductors certainly do with QQQ. And again, just use your QQQ divided by, no, let's go SMH divided by QQQ. And if it's a downtrend, that's a bearish correlation. It's a downtrend. The last 5 days, semiconductors comparative to QQQ are falling apart. You want to be playing bullish correlation when you're bullish and bearish correlation when you're bearish. Tesla divided by QQQ. I have been on the right side of this trade, but not today. I took my first red day today after 16 green days in a row. The reason being, I got used to a Tesla bull correlation. I had SQQQ exposure. That was my only bear position today, recognizing that QQQ was the weak sector to start the morning. That obviously shifted by the end of the day with IWM joining significantly. But I didn't have enough bear exposure to cover Tesla switching to a bearish correlation. So that was a little bit of a lesson. And the 16 green days is notable for me because it's a new trading style for me. And granted, you look at the bounce over the last 3 weeks. Of course, having a bull lean over the last 3 weeks makes a lot of green easy. But there were red days mixed in there as well. So I was doing a good job of protecting during daily consolidation. I was green during these days. But the streak is now broken. So what does that tell me? Shift my game plan a little bit, shifting market environment. So if Tesla keeps up this bearish correlation to QQQ, again, I'm definitely going to exit. Wow, we actually hit all-time highs. We double topped at all-time highs as far as Tesla being the strongest it's ever been comparative to QQQ. So again, that is being in the right side of the trade. Facebook comparative to QQQ. This is being on the right side of the trade. I've got the bull correlation with me. I've got the wind at my back. So again, it's the opposite for bears. And looking at, let's say, well, no, forget it. Anyways, the example was NVDA and semiconductors, bearish correlation to QQQ. Those are the names to be looking bearish in. And XLF certainly has a bearish correlation to SPY recently. Big drop down. So XLF has been a place for bears to be hanging out. So IWM, daily downtrend confirmed. And this one was a tricky one for me because I was ready for this. Well, I wasn't ready for this, but pre-market, I was ready for this. And I posted multiple times in the chat room, I'm scouting a daily lower high on IWM. And even in the short room that we have, I was talking about it. So before the bell rings, watching IWM to see if a daily lower high is going to shape up. So how in the world did I miss that great short entry? The first 5 minutes threw me off. And I will say that live streaming had a little bit to do with it, just because when I'm live streaming, I'm looking at 80 different things rather than just maybe 4 different things that I want to focus on. But the first 7 minutes of trading being all bulls threw me off the scent of the bears. I said, okay, IWM is still complete control of the bulls, and I'm not looking for a bearish entry on the morning with it standing out as a lead bull sector. That obviously changed very quickly, but I was not in the zone enough to rapidly adjust my trading game plan based on that new information. So I missed that daily lower high, which would have ended up being a beauty, but the daily downtrend is confirmed. Weekly consolidation is underway. Anything above 190, 150 is a weekly high or low. Is this a monthly lower high forming a monthly bear flag on IWM? It's entirely possible. Again, it's going to be very, the S&P 500 right now is either a 2-month bull flag heading to all-time highs, or it's going to confirm the first monthly downtrend really since 2008. And that all remains to be seen. And at this moment in time, as soon as, again, I still have a little bull lean. I've obviously shifted a lot after today, but until the lows of Friday break the lows of Friday, I'm neutral. Well, I'm short-term bear, but big picture, I'm neutral. I need to see what does the weekly consolidation look like, what does the retracement size look like to determine which is the most likely scenario, because these are two completely opposite scenarios as to what is going to happen for the rest of this year. All-time highs or confirmed monthly downtrend. Very different scenarios. So I will be, as far as the monthly time frame is concerned, I'm in the middle of the road. And I will develop that bias as information is given to me. Theme of today's video is bias. So XBI, I'm scouting an hourly lower high, next bounce. XBI has been stronger than IWM. It's still in a daily uptrend. But let's look at it. XBI divided by IWM. So it's been stronger than IWM consistently, and I'm scouting a bearish entry in XBI, but what I would want to see is this see a notable pullback and set a weekly lower high to continue to remain weaker than IWM. So it's not happening yet, but it's something I'm going to be watching for. And it's not the kind of thing that is required for me to make an entry. I can enter bearish on XBI on an hourly lower high, but then I just keep an eye on this correlation and know that if it starts to show a bear correlation, then maybe I'm more prone to swing trade it longer. So it impacts my trade. It doesn't impact whether I enter or exit. It does many times, but in this instance, because I would be going counter the short-term momentum with XBI stronger than IWM, it could change. It could develop into something else, which is what I would need to see to keep me in that short trade. We're going a little bit in depth in today's video. But still a daily uptrend as long as 89.87 holds for XBI. Tesla, double top it, 1150. We broke resistance, but only by a couple dollars. If we drop down and break 1066, daily uptrend lost, weekly consolidation shaping up. Not surprising to reject from this resistance zone. Gave the bulls a chance to see all-time highs. I certainly was not expecting to just V-shape to all-time highs. But again, look at the space we have for a weekly high or low here. What's the retracement size going to be on this consolidation? Because I would say anything above bull flag retracement size of 1,000. If we hold 1,000, if we drop 9% from here, it's still a possible weekly bull flag. So that's why I'm going to keep a partial Tesla position. It's not a long-term no-touch position, but it's an all-time high attempt position if weekly consolidation ends up being healthy for the market, which again is on the table for me. Everything's on the table. Monthly downtrends on the table. All-time highs are on the table. It's all on the table. XLV double topped at bull flag resistance. XLV held on and looked real good most of today. And then into the last hour or two, it started to join Team Bear as QQQ got real weak, and then XLF joined QQQ at the low of the day. If we drop down and XLV breaks 136.45 support, I would consider that a loss of the daily uptrend, and weekly consolidation would then be underway. And again, it's another name where there's a ton of space for a weekly high or low. We can pull back and hold EMA 12 and still be just fine. But we'll be looking bearish while weekly consolidation is underway for many names. It's just I have a different perspective for every time frame. I can be bearish on the daily and bullish on the weekly. And that's an important relationship to develop with how all these time frames overlap with each other. I can be bearish on the 5-minute and bullish on the hourly. I very often am. Financial sector, got no daily bounce going, lower high every day, 5 days in a row at this point. There is a support level at 37.59 and then a gap at 37.29. Weekly consolidation started here a while ago. It's just a question of, can the bulls form an inverse head and shoulders? How much retracement do we see? At this point, retracement size is 50%. So if we see another leg down here, that's then going to be creating space that even if we do hold the low, we'll then have space for a weekly lower high to be the result of that bounce. And we know we're scouting a daily lower high. That's what my message said, along with IWM. We're scouting a daily lower high to be the result of the next bounce here. So a swing trading bear is scouting XLF for a daily lower high next time we bounce. Gold. So gold and silver got used to an inverse relationship with the stock market because of the Ukraine situation, and that has now faded. So on a big red day today in stocks, a few weeks ago, that would have resulted in a likely big green day in the metals, but that's no longer the case. So that correlation has faded, toss it away, and now we observe for new information, but essentially still the same must-hold level, because if we break this low, again, at that point, we are so far off of the all-time high that I will look to trade range-bound for months. Burden is on bulls to get over 1950 to shape up a weekly higher low, and we failed to do so today by just $6. Silver is weaker. Silver is nearing its lows. XAG. Come on. So silver is looking down at its lows. Again, the weekly time frame. Every new leg down that we see from here prolongs how long it's going to take to try and get back to that recent high. Bulls must hold 23.97 and break 24.70. And I can tell just in my holdings, again, I got small swing positions at this point looking for weekly higher lows, but my silver position is not down significantly. It's down maybe a half day maker, but it's down something like 8 times more than my GLD position, which is pretty much break even. So it's been clear that XAU, again, just all these comparisons and correlations, XAU, XAG, let's see, this is going to show me an uptrend because gold has been stronger than silver. That is not the chart that I wanted. There we go. So gold significantly gaining on silver over the last week plus. That's worth watching. This is a weekly equilibrium. We've been tightening up in this for a while. That's going to be key when it breaks in terms of determining where's your money better off in, gold or silver. Oil. So oil set a 2-day higher low yesterday, but very quickly seeing some weakness. Keeping in mind it is possible to break the 97.78 low, but still be a weekly equilibrium. On the weekly perspective, all that matters is 92.20. We're using the daily and the 2-day time frame to try and get additional information and more details, but the weekly 92.20 is all that matters. So we're watching the daily lower highs, knowing that the bulls must break these daily lower highs if a weekly higher low is going to shape up. Uranium, CCJ, very clear top fishing level, $30 resistance. We topped out at 30.49, 30.40, and now 30.21. If we drop down and break 28.15 support, it's going to be a bit of a notable shift. The more important level to me is 26.16. But we've seen rising wedges mark tops a couple times in the sector, and we may have another one shaping up. And again, seeing weakness with the broader market today. Nah, I don't like that one. Not sure I would draw my resistance line, but clear resistance for potential top fishing bear entries on CCJ. And UUUU is even weaker. At least it was. Little head and shoulders. Bears must break. 851 to confirm it. And the VIX. Make note of this one. So this is the first time that I have actively paid attention to the VIX historical RSI levels live while it's playing out, and I learned some good things. So I'm certainly going to be watching very closely next time. But again, you go back the last 10 years, and the extremes of the RSI were in the 31s. And I think we hit 31s twice, a couple 32s, a lot of 34s, 35s. And on this drop, we hit 32. And for me, what I was going to be looking for is, if we confirmed daily bull flags real quick in QQQ and SPY today, tomorrow, I would have been looking bearish, because at that point in time, if the VIX would have been right back at our historical bounce levels, I would not have anticipated bull flag follow through in the broader market. In the end, that didn't happen, so it doesn't matter. But this is now one way I will use the VIX, because I've been watching the VIX for 5 years and I just don't find a useful spot for it in my trading strategy. But historical RSI absolutely will give me clues, and I will utilize this as long as it keeps working. All right, I hope you're well. Do good things. All about those 12-hour support levels. Burden is on the bulls in the short term to control the overnight futures session to ensure that support is maintained. And we got the hourly oversold bounce underway, but we need an hourly trend change overnight to try and come off of those 12-hour supports. And if we open higher tomorrow, there's a ton of names where we're going to be scouting hourly lower highs. And for me, I'll be watching XPI, but there's a handful of them. NVDA, hourly, tons of space for a lower high. Do good things. I'm out of content. We're going to recycle some stuff. See you tomorrow.